I hope you enjoyed the visionary keynote speech this morning by Johann Gevers. I have the pleasure to work with him every day in realizing this great vision. And I would like to start with putting it into perspective. So actually what we are talking today is about the biggest market which there is in the world. There are more than 10 quadrillion US dollars in transactions. Why is that so? Because basically all the markets which exist in the world are comprised in this one, because every single economic transaction is a transaction which basically is based on a contract and which ultimately could be handled on a platform like Monetas. Nevertheless, as you heard as well, 2 million people today, they are unbanked. They have no means to store nor to transact safely other than in proximity, the same village, or let's say the next village. 2 million people with no access at all, and another 1.5 million with very limited access, so maybe a mobile payment scheme where they can use, which they can use for remittances every now and then. Now, having said that mobile money, you might have heard of M-Pesa or similar systems. They have done probably more for financial inclusions in the last decade than the whole banking industry has done in the last 100 years. That is a phenomenal achievement. There are more than 271 services currently, mobile payment services in the world. They are active in over 90 countries nowadays, most of them in Africa. There are over 400 million customers there already. And only in last December, the total volume or value of transaction exceeded $1 billion US dollars. And that basically only something like 7 years after inception of the notion of mobile payment. That's a phenomenal progress and great for all the people who could profit from. But again, putting this in perspective, the industry is far away from reaching its full potential, which merely scratched the surface of this development. If you imagine that 98% of all transactions are still done by cash, and that in Kenya, where we have the most successful mobile payment system, which is M-Pesa. M-Pesa runs half or more than half of all mobile payment transactions worldwide, including Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay, and whatever you might name it. Half of all mobile transactions are done with M-Pesa in Kenya alone. So a huge success, and still only 2% of the transactions in Kenya. Of the 2 billion unbanked, there are only 130 million active customers. And active defined pretty generously, basically using it once in a quarter, once in 90 days. And what's more, and probably the most scary thing, is that the center of all day-to-day commerce, the merchants, the grocery store next door, they are fully excluded yet. So basically, there are no normal payments. So when we go to buy our groceries in Migros or Coop or do our shopping at the next door shop, that's a normal payment. We do something like 25 times a week on average in our world. And basically, that is totally excluded in this part of the world. All, what also you heard this morning, all is centered about cash. And if you want to change anything, then we have to start where consumers are today. Now, cash, we learned this morning, is very expensive. It's expensive for the economy, 5 to 7% of GDP in the countries we are targeting, developing countries, and people who have the only possibility to store cash, even for their pension scheme kind of, lose something like 20% of their scarce means every year, because they don't know where they put it. It might burn, it might be stolen. The husband might take it for taking some booze, whatever there is. Now, cash is at the center of the economy. So if we want to offer a solution to help there and to make some impact, then we have to start where people are today, and that is with cash. So I would like to explain you the Monetas solution, starting with this notion of cash. This is cash. It's in my leather wallet. And this is a contract printed on paper. I'm pretty sure, not 100% because I do not know every single security aspect, I'm pretty sure that this is a real Swiss banknote worth $20, 20 francs. And actually, why I'm sure? Because it's a special printed paper, the notion is on it, the signature of Thomas Jordan is on this paper. So this is a contract the National Bank has with the bureau, with me. And that's the first element what Monetas has developed. Actually, what you see here, this is the money printing press of the future. It's a simple, highly secured machine in the vault of the National Bank. And what this is producing actually is exactly what you see here, but in a digital code. A string of code which is programmed, which basically says on this code, this is 20 Swiss francs, it's signed and secured by the Swiss National Bank. And this is the first element of the Monetas solution. The second one is this one. I need something to carry this note safely. Well, I can have it in my pocket, but normally I put it in here. So this is a leather wallet. And that's the second piece Monetas has invented, is basically a wallet. A real digital wallet, which I can download for free from the Google Store, from the App Store. Now what I have, if I may stretch your imagination, this is the code, the digital code, which we've done. And this now literally is here in the wallet. Now, as a normal consumer, I can now have the money herein, and 20 Swiss francs showing on my display of my wallet is actually like this piece of paper which I have herein. Now, the last thing is the most difficult one, because if I want to give it to somebody, I can give it in proximity. I can give it to you.
Thank you.
And you can check whether it is okay.
Yep, exactly.
You trust it. Now, if I just send it to somebody in the back, can you trust me that this is a real piece of paper, a real note? Probably not. Yeah, you have some doubts. But if Bruce confirms to you that this is real, you might trust him. So, and that is the last part actually, is that we made sure, like you have a notary, a digital notary, if we move it from one mobile phone to one client to another client, it's 100% secure that this is real stuff. It's the real code which has been signed by the Swiss National Bank and has been portrayed for, transacted further. Yeah?
So I've got a question actually. So if you give me the note, yes, it looks like a banknote, and I can say, yes, it's a banknote. But if you give me your phone, I haven't got a clue.
I don't give you the phone.
Well, no, but
that's mine.
I know, but if you present me the phone,
yeah. Now,
does it look like a banknote?
That's right, that's right. And that's a very good remark, thank you, Bruce. Because what's in the phone is actually the digital representation of this piece of paper. It's a code. Now, if this code arrives on your phone, on your wallet, the system can realize, because a notary has checked it, that this is the real thing and is only on your phone. And this is basically all what is about this crypto technology which we are using at Monetas. Now, these three elements enable basically people to use this digital money as real legal tender, and the same way as they use cash. And they see the numbers and they see the confirmation with that one. Now, how does that help to increase financial inclusion? You have seen this morning that half of all transactions are below $1. That's a survey from Kenya. 80% are below $5. Now, given the efficiency of our model, we can turn the whole system upside down. Normally, with M-Pesa, you paid 20 to 30 cents for a transaction. On a $1 transaction, that 20 to 30% transaction fee, no decent merchant does that. In our system, $1 transaction costs 0.9 cents, and that's negligible. And the maximum at 30 cents. Well, the maximum is there where the minimum with all other systems currently known in the market to start. And this can be done profitably for everyone in the market there. Secondly, having the legal tender as the means of payment means that it's fully operational within the country. In most other countries where mobile money is less successful, the problem is that with every mobile operator which offers that mobile money, that's technically seen a different currency. And then you need to change. As they are held centrally, they cannot easily change. So this makes full interoperability. And if you imagine the fact that I have a 20 euro note and a 20 Swiss francs note in the same wallet, I can easily exchange these two means like I can exchange anywhere with a travel station or at the airport or wherever. So the same system applies there. It's fully interoperable within a country and also within different countries. And last but not least, payments is just the beginning. That's the easiest form of a contract. I give to you 20 Swiss francs. That's a very simple contract. Now, there is a system, and that was mentioned this morning as well. Professor Brammertz from the University of Zurich has developed digital algorithmic contracts. 99% of all financial contracts which we have today in the whole global financial industry are already covered by the contracts he laid down with his team at the University of Zurich in the last 20 years. And they have already been proven because that was the basis for the European banking stress test, which were executed by the European Central Bank. So these elements will be incorporated on our platform, and that will enable financial institutions to offer savings, loans, insurances as kind of the basic means, and imaginatively even very sophisticated derivatives and other financial contracts. So it's very much future-proof. So basically, they can allow those markets to develop extremely much into the future without brick-and-mortar banking. Coming back to the business model, it's a very simple model. We have been talking about the 0.9% transaction fee. Most of that goes to our market partners. Market partners are financial institutions or bank or mobile operators or other interested parties in those markets, which develop the market and the ecosystem, which go to the merchants, explain it, and basically do the business. And that is the large part which they get, 0.5%. Central bank is an important partner there as well because they are the ones issuing, printing the banknotes which are held in our system. And then the consumer actually never pays more than the 0.9%. The notary service, which I explained using Bruce as an example before, is done in Switzerland as a service. So basically every user is connected to the Swiss notary, which basically notarizes out of a highest security data center, used also for a lot of banks where they outsource the whole IT by that service, and this is financed via 0.1%. And 0.3% is the license fee, which with every transaction goes to Monetas. And that's quite an interesting business model. Now, how are we taking this legal tender to the market? As mentioned, we have already a lot of players in the market, and they suffer. They suffer badly from missing interoperability, from very high costs, and from the vicious circle I call, which is mobile money. They need a lot of exchange and a huge agent network of exchangers because people always want to move back in cash because the merchants are not accepting the money. So actually, that are the M-Pesas, Orange Money, Western Union, Tigo Cash, all those can do their business much more profitably. And very interesting are the lower ones, the banks. They kind of missed the opportunity to reach out to the long tail because they were in the thinking of building brick and mortar banks to go out to the people. And if you can imagine, running a simple bank account costs somewhat around $200 a year, just operational costs for the bank. Now, if the total turnover is only $500 a year, you can see that never ever will become a profitable business. With our system, they will earn money on that one. We start with Africa. Why? Because in Africa, the use of the system is biggest. 80%, as you heard this morning, is unbanked. It's 60% in Tunisia, where we are in cooperation with the Tunisian Post. It's then Southeast Asia, where we have about 60-65% unbanked, and South America with 50% or 55% unbanked population. So this is how we want to spread out. we get quite a lot of interest of central banks, of financial institutions who want to partner with us in different places of the market. Now, where are we specifically? As mentioned, we have our first partner. We started friends and family pilot testing with Play Money in last October with La Poste Tunisienne. You can compare it with PostFinance here in Switzerland. So it's the backbone of the national payment system. They are quite fun. We are now in the course of integrating the system with their legacy systems. It is kind of a deviation of what our base model is because it's the post here which will issue the money. They have the so-called e-dinar, which they issue under a license of the Tunisian National Bank. But all the rest is basically as I described to you before. We have signed up 4 or 5 other MOUs by now, together with 4 more, 5 in total, covering 16 markets, close to 400 million people. Basically east, west and southern parts of Africa. There we are going into pilots in the next few weeks and months, and then kind of rolling out the system by the end of the year into early next year going forward. And most important, we have the product. So actually, since Tuesday, this week, we started a pilot here in Zug, basically to eat our own dog food. And we can use it at Monsieur Baguette, which is a spec subsidiary. And I have bought for my coffee and bread for my team already. So it works nicely, and they are quite fond how efficient and fascinating fast it goes. So whoever wants to get to know it shall come to me. I would like to invite you for a Kirschstörtli or a Kirschstängeli or whatever there is in the Monsieur Baguette. We are a team of close to 30 people, world-class team in terms of developers. Administration, marketing we have here in Zug, and about a quarter of the engineers, the developers. That's the biggest part of the company, close to 20 people. They are spread around the whole world, mostly Europe and in the US. All very focused specialists in their area of cryptography and programming, these kind of things. And last but not least, that's why we are here. We have in the first 3 rounds, we've raised 7 million Swiss francs so far. We expect to break even in 2019, and as from 2020, we expect our EBIT to be in the area of 100 million plus. It's a network business. It's a huge opportunity which is there. There is so far no competitive product which offers the same benefits as our product does. There are a lot of concepts out there, yes, but there is none yet which can cover that one. The reception and the notion of mobile money, especially in Africa, is very widespread. It's just not yet used in the way that it really makes a lot of business. That is what we are going to change. We have opened the 4th round, actually some weeks ago. It's about 15 million which we are raising currently. And we expect that these shares will be tradable as from point of profitability or break even in 2019. So feel free. I would like to invite you to join us in powering a world of unprecedented prosperity. Thank you.